I know you travel the world, you said, on tours when you were playing, but then you also travel
Hmm.
the world with your wife, going on book tours, I think. So, what were the experiences of that like? Because traveling the world sounds like a really, really exciting lifestyle.
Traveling the world, yeah. I realized that I used that phrase and when I told you about it earlier, because
Hmm.
that's what my dissertation, one of my dissertation advisors at UCLA, that was the phrase she used because I was gone all the time. And they were frustrated that I wasn't getting much work done on my dissertation. And she said, "Well, you must be having a good time traveling the world." And I had not thought that was what I was doing. But her sort of derisive comment made me realize, I guess I am doing it. I guess I should realize that I've been traveling the world. But my wife has sold over 1 million books, and there was a
Wow.
period when she had a very big YA young adult novel series, and it was really big. It was far more popular in um, Catholic countries because they were about angels. Her YA series dealt with angels, and Italy and Latin America. Uh, they just fled for these books. And they were big in Germany too. I mean, they were big all over the place. We went to she was headlined these huge events twice in the Philippines. So it was great to fly there, but we went all over Brazil, all through Europe, Italy, France, Germany. Um, I'm sure I'm leaving some places out. Um, we would pass through Japan, but she didn't have any events there, which was a bummer. A lot of Europe and a lot of Latin America, with the Philippines mixed in. Um, I'm trying to think of some interesting stories. There weren't really any large disasters. I mean, there were some funny little anecdotes where, because she was the star, obviously, and I would try to tag along. So there were funny travel logistical moments where, you know, the Bertelsmann Group, which owns Random House and a million, it's just an enormous mega corporation in Berlin. They were having their 100th year anniversary gala, and Lauren, my wife, was like one of their biggest writers at the time, so they wanted her to come, and they put her up to this really really fancy hotel. They gave her a 24-hour, 7 day a week, brand new 7 Series BMW limousine with the driver at her beck and call at any time of the day. It's just everything. The meals were 5-star restaurants. She gave a presentation, and old lady Bertelsmann called her in, summoned her to her office to tell her how wonderful she was. It was a big deal thing, but I was an afterthought. I was just hanging around, talking to hanging out and talking to all these world famous authors and the head of Penguin, Random House every night, But on the planes, so I was just tagging along. But on the planes, like she was put in first class. It's on Lufthansa, which is like the best first class, and they forgot the logistics got mixed up, and I got put in just the back of the plane by the bathroom, on the way there and back. And so it was funny, the way we handled. Lauren felt really bad, and she'd come back like, "You got to taste this incredible, some amazing food item that they were serving in first class." She would come back there, and I'm just crammed in between several people. "You got to taste this. This is incredible." So I would taste it. Eventually, I had to say, "Lauren, this is a little bit torturous. Maybe you shouldn't come back here anymore. I'll be fine." With little things like that, no big disasters. I mean, I can handle writing in economy, no big deal. But she was definitely wined and dined and feted and treated like the amazing writer she was. And to tie it all in, watching how she handled it, watching her grace and her humility and her kindness and her ability to see things for what they were, and not take it too seriously. All of these things, watching her do that so well, uh, only reinforced to me how I could have never handled it if I had gotten my sort of T-Rex David Bowie dream. So that really helped me understand, like, these things happen um, often to the right people for the right reasons. And I was just happy to be there carrying her bags for her and sort of brainstorming ideas for the next book as we would run from one airport gate to another. So that was a fun period of time, but that period of time really ended. I mean, oh, I'm just remembering she also did events in Turkey and in Israel.
Mhm.
Um, but that period of time really came to a crashing halt. And you know, when we go on a vacation now, we no one's paying for her travel. It's our deciding to do it, which was not the case for a long time. Um, but that was an exciting period, and as soon as right as it was ending, we had our first child, Matilda. So she got to go with us a lot of those trips. Then we had our second child, Venice, and he sort of didn't know any of that world, and so he just knows that part of our lives from anecdotes and photographs. But yeah, we have two kids, and right now my wife is a couple of doors down in the house writing her next novel. Um, she also teaches online at Astronova School and at Stanford Post Collegiate, like the extension, Stanford Adult Extension. Yeah, we're just in here writing and teaching all day and picking the kids up from school and taking them to baseball practice and to my daughter is a musician and she sings and plays the violin. So we take her to her things. It's a very domestic, uh, lucky life because we get to work at home and we're right at hand if our kids need us for anything. So that's been really nice too.
Yeah. So I guess let's just do one last question about your teaching.
Okay.
So like, how did you guys, I guess, go from all this writing? How did the teaching come about? And how are you enjoying your work at OHS right now, or like you're teaching at all these places right now?
Well, we got started in teaching, Lauren and me. Just talk for myself here, but in order to pay for creative writing grad school, get the MFA, if you're a teaching assistant, they waive your tuition and they give you a small stipend to live on. And so most people who get the chance to do that do that. And the same is the case for PhD programs. And so really, really, you're taking classes and seminars, but as much as you're doing that, you're also teaching when you're in grad school. And so that's how I got into it. And it took me a while to learn to integrate it into my life. Like it felt like this strange required thing I had to do that was outside of my interests in a weird way, outside of my natural inclination. It felt that way for a while until I realized, wait a minute, I'm into this stuff. I'm writing about this stuff. This is what I like to read about. Why am I acting like this is separate from me? And once I started to allow myself to love it and allow myself to explore my own passions within it, it became a natural part of what I do and how I think. Selfishly, I work out a lot of my ideas while talking about text in class, and I'm thinking in real time, and I'm learning from you guys being the students, constantly, all the time, hearing all these different perspectives on something on the same text is incredibly inspiring and educational for me. And so, learning to be grateful for that, and to selfishly and greedily uh, hunger for it, has only made teaching more and more fun. And it goes by really quickly for me. I can't believe sometimes that the hour is already up. Um, I really enjoy the time we spend in class together.
Yeah, definitely. The class discussions always like pass by in a flash.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool to hear. But yeah. So I guess with all these different like lifestyles and careers you've experienced, from like playing music to writing to teaching, if you could go back in time and talk to yourself when you just graduated from Yale, would you still recommend your younger self to also follow the same path that you did, or would you actually recommend something different?
Fascinating question. Graduating from Yale, no, I don't think I would have, because of all these funny things that happened as a result of perhaps foolishly pursuing a career in music. It led me to Los Angeles, which has been the right place for me to be, which led me to UC Davis, um, where I met my wife and where all kinds of great things happened. So no, I mean, because if you take out if it's your life is a Jenga tower, I want all those little blocks in there. There aren't any blocks I would want to take out because then you would lose another part. It's funny. Most people, it feels like a boring way to answer that question. I feel like most people would say, no, no regrets. And that's kind of the expected thing. And
Yeah.
I once watched an interview with Orson Welles, big, famous, successful film director. And the interviewer said, do you have any regrets in life? He went, are you kidding? Uh, Almost nothing but regrets. And the guy said, what's your biggest regret? That I fell in love with movies is my biggest regret. If I had not fallen in love with movies, I could have done so many other things with my life. And I wish I had such an interesting thing to say, but off the top of my head, I think I would have told myself, don't be, and this is not graduating from Yale, but while going into Yale, I would have told myself to be a better student, to not let music distract me from my studies as much as it did. I would have told myself that. I think I could have only benefited from paying more attention to what was happening in the class than what was happening on stage in New York. It was hard for me to focus because it was really exciting new stuff for some hick from Arkansas. Um, but that's just maturity. I wasn't mature enough to be able to focus on both, and so that is something I would change.
I see. I see. And then, would there be any other advice you want to give to maybe anyone here at OHS thinking about pursuing like either a music career or like a writing career in future?
Um, well, it reminds me of another thing I regret. I approached music and writing when I was a kid as if it were because my reference point was sports. Nobody in my family was artistic or cared or valued art in any way. Um, it was all about sports and achieving in sports. And so I was taught that if you just work harder and are demonstrably better and more skillful and more gifted at anything, that will be rewarded. And that is an enormously erroneous thing to think in terms of creativity and art. So I would stay in my room. I'd write 5 songs in a sitting. I'd just try to write more, better songs than everybody, and that'll take me where I want to go. But it didn't. It just kept me in my bedroom writing songs. Um, So I would say if you're going to get involved with the humanities and the arts, it is a very, if you want to do it with your life and your career and you want to make a living from it, um, realize that it is as much about hanging out as it is about being good. Um, People want to feel comfortable hanging out with you, and that's what gets you jobs. So be social, be nice, be easy to hang out with.
Mhm.
Um, that's at least, if not more important than being talented. So that would be my advice.
Wow. Okay. That's definitely something, very, very valuable to hear, I think. Yeah.
Okay, good. I hope so.
All right. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Morphew, for joining us on the podcast today. Definitely what you shared already. It was so much fun to listen to. It was so interesting. And yeah, definitely really valuable to hearing about all the experiences that you have and I guess all the insights that you had on them. So thank you so much again, Dr. Morphew.
Well, thank you for the privilege and the compliment and the honor of listening and asking me to be on this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. See you later.